Growing up in the Canadian schooling system, we were never taught anything about the Middle East. We were never actually even told that Bethlehem is in Palestine, or that Israel is Jewish, not Christian, or that Tel Aviv is actually a lot like Los Angeles with better food. One thing I did learn in school, though, is that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's pretty useful knowledge. This is my journey to discover an incredibly important story that is left out of the North American educational system.
3, 2, 1.
I'm Taylor Jackson. I travel and I take pictures. It's always been my dream to have a travel show, so one day I just woke up and did it. I'm currently in Tel Aviv, Israel, where the money is pixelated, but at least it doesn't smell like maple syrup. Oh, Canada. To summarize the whole Israel-Palestine conflict here really quickly, in 1948 the UN divided Palestine up and gave some of its land to a new Jewish state called Israel. Obviously this made a lot of people really mad, and the neighboring Arab states like Egypt, Transjordan, Syria, and a few others attacked Israel immediately. Somehow the very small and new Israel won and actually pushed them back and took more land. As of now, Palestine still refuses to acknowledge Israel as a state and refuses peace. After many Palestinian acts of violence in the early 2000s, Israel has now built walls and fences around Palestine and won't let them out. Today I'm headed to Jerusalem and Bethlehem. I'm on my way there with an ex-Israeli Special Forces turned tour guide for the day that speaks Hebrew, Arabic, and English perfectly. He also seems to know every single police officer and shop owner. As awesome as he is, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to actually show him on camera. Currently, there's a lot of what the media has deemed random stabbings happening in and around Jerusalem. What my guide actually told me is that they're not random, they're targeted Muslim on Jewish attacks. He said that an Irish kid with red hair has nothing to worry about. I'm not Irish, but I appreciate his calming words. And that got me thinking, if something I just saw on the international news was plain wrong and out to scare people, how much of the rest of what I'm seeing on television about Israel and Palestine is also incorrect? I touched the Western Wall, which you're not allowed to film. Then we walk the Stations of the Cross, which is believed to be the actual path that Jesus took with the cross. Then we hit up a Burger King. Just kidding. Bethlehem is an Area A under Palestinian Authority, which means Israeli citizens are forbidden from entering. But since I'm with the Israeli James Bond, apparently we're allowed to drive right in. When you get into Palestine, the roads aren't really on Google Maps anymore. I guess they haven't set the Google car over to the West Bank yet. Driving around here actually does feel like a prison. Even if you have a business here that does really well and you can afford to buy a brand new Mercedes S-Class, you can't really drive it anywhere. You can't go on vacation, you can't visit family out of the country, you're just here, and by the looks of these walls, I'd say you're here forever. This is certainly something the media never told me. Then we drank some Palestinian beer and ate some lamb. If you ever find yourself in Bethlehem, I highly recommend this place. After that, we took a drive past the local KFC and Stars and Bucks on our way to the place that Jesus was born. This is the actual spot that Jesus was born. And we got some sweet cheese and lasagna noodles. That's what I was told it was anyways. I don't know if something got lost in translation there. Earlier in the day we caught this newscast, and my guide said that he would take us down the street to show me what it's actually like.
The occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem. Here in Bethlehem there have recently been clashes every single day, and it's taken on a familiar pattern. The Palestinian protesters come down the street, they've been throwing stones, and the Israeli soldiers go out firing tear gas and rubber bullets.
This was maybe the most eye-opening experience for me on the entire trip. Just a few hours ago, this was world news, but as it turns out, it was just some teenagers throwing rocks at the same guard tower that they throw rocks at every day. The feelings that I got from the news reports here made me feel like I was going into a war zone, and that I should just turn around and take a flight home. It turns out there wasn't a single second that I actually felt unsafe. here we drove back to Tel Aviv and watched the sunset. It's amazing that a place like this can be so close to a place that's closed off from the rest of the world. Who knew that Bethlehem is actually inside a prison? I didn't. That's not something you learn in school. This trip has taught me more than any other trip on this season of the show, and it is an experience that I will remember for the rest of my life. I wish that I could have stayed here longer and explored more, but for now I'm off to Las Vegas to photograph some tacos. And don't forget that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.